Yes, so the game's actually called Project Heera, and I keep changing names, but it's Project Heera Diamond Heist, and yeah. So before arriving to Stugan, I had multiple versions of the game. This was the very first version, where it was just about stealing diamonds, and about that's it. You didn't have different characters, you had nothing else. This was a strong concept. It proved the fun part about stealing, and it proved the fun part about decision making, like if you want to steal more or not. But it was very basic, it was very vague, there was no direction, it wasn't so much playable. I had to keep a book in between the screen to make it playable. The next build was much more sophisticated, much more better. I mean, you had different characters, there was a system in place, the rounds worked. It had a direction, it was playable. But it had its own problems. I started making this game when I started learning programming and game development in general. So it was a very bad build, it only worked on LAN, some flaws, very less characters. So when I came over here, my aim was, first of all, to make a very strong base for the game. It's a multiplayer game, it has a lot of requirements, so that was my first aim. Design improvements was another. I also wanted to add more characters, and finally playtesting. Actually, playtesting was my main aim, but when I got over here and I did my first playtest, but I realized like not everyone is into this kind of game. So I sort of reshuffled my priority list. So first of all, building a base. When I came here, I learned a lot about what my game needs and what I need to make my work more efficient. So I listed them, basically what my needs are, and just made a very structured, organized base. So right now in the game, I have these sections covered. Like there's a fog-off system in the game. It does not use OpenGL or any proper techniques. It's just very simple Photoshop like masking trick. It works, split screen works, not perfectly, I'll be honest, but it works. The most important two parts for me is live spectating and replays. Whenever I have showcased the game in expos or online or whenever, I organize tournaments. And whenever there are tournaments, I want people to watch them live. That's the fun part. After the tournament is played, people often ask for videos, and you want to show off those videos. So the game, you can jump in anytime and spectate live. You can watch replays. The level design is modular. It's made of a bunch of blocks. So right now, it's not a part of the game that there will be a level editor, but if in future I decide to, or if I decide to add new elements, which is very much needed for a multiplayer game, it's going to be easy. And the last thing is, there are some very good simple tricks which I can use for organizing basic tournaments. Let's say I give out the build tomorrow and I say if you want to organize tournaments, you can. But rather than having a simple game, and I would like it to look more official, more personal. So right now, if you just go in the game, add in your team names, and you just go on Google, or if you upload an image, take that link, put it into the game. Anyone who's watching the game live spectating will have the team logos, team names, profiles. It just instantly feels much more personal, and like it's something very nice for Twitch. So that stuff is there. One of the biggest problems was workflow. Now the game has a lot of characters. Those characters have different skills. You have gadgets. The way I used to work earlier is, hey, I have a new idea. I'll just code it in, and it works. I'm happy. But then I have another idea, and I code it in. It works. I'm happy. The third time I have an idea which sort of works with the first two, it's a hell of a mess because I have to go back and change the first two things. So right now what I did is just removed everything and made a very simple template. It's down to, I can say, a very simple three-step process. If I want to add in a new element to the game, I just copy-paste my template. The template is already working efficiently in terms of networking. I don't have to do anything about that. Also works with Fog04. So I just copy the template, carefully put it in the right place, do what I want to, and I just add it in the spreadsheet, and it's live. It works. It will not mess with any other skills made earlier, or should not mess with skills which you make afterwards. The second most important thing is, since it's a multiplayer game and it requires a lot of balancing, every single factor like the speed of the car, the rate of bullets firing, the damage of bullets, all this needs to be changed often to balance the game, and the earlier way I used to do it is like every single change required a new build, which is frustrating, especially where I live. Downloading a 100 MB build takes like 10-15 minutes, and it's a very simple way to lose your playtesters. So check that. What it just did is every single entry point in the game, which is float or end, is into spreadsheets. What I can do is I can upload the spreadsheet, update, and anyone who has the game doesn't even need to close the game. They can just press an F5 key, it refreshes, checks if there's a new spreadsheet, downloads, boom, it's done. Like, so imagine if I'm playtesting right now and I see, it's not working, I need the bullets to feel more stronger. I'll say, okay, hold on, go on, change the value, update. If it's there on the server, I'll just ask the guys refresh, update it. So I don't have to ask them to download a new build or even go on Steam or update a new patch. It's just there is a proper content management system. I'm sorry if it's too technical.
No, that's interesting.
And yeah, I mean, like what I said earlier, my earlier process of making stuff were very rubbish. Like you just think of ideas, code it in, think of ideas, code it in. Rather just like organize everything in different sections. Like there are different sections for movement, there are different sections for animations or visual effects, and different system for collision, for. So whenever I add in new stuff, like let's say if I add in a skill which says dash, your speed increases twice. I just don't say your speed increases twice. I say to the movement system, hey, increase the movement by 200% multiplied by whatever the other stuff is, and it works perfectly. It has worked so far. I think I might break it sometime. But it's good to have all this sort of clear. Also, one of the most important things which I did, which I realized after some time, was it was sort of making a game and also a framework thing, like spectating live replays and stuff. So one thing which I took care of, and even a few people suggested, is that right now the framework and the game are two different things. It's not mixed together. So if tomorrow I decide like my game shit, I want to throw it away, I can just delete it. But the framework's still there. I can put in new elements, but boom, I have a new multiplayer game, works online, has replays, you can spectate live, has all that spreadsheet update stuff. So yeah, that I think is a one good long investment thing. The next part, design. So the design of the game is primarily based around three things. First, the risk-reward technique, where players have to decide if they want to go in or not, the whole ego-based thing. Second is based on teamwork, like you have different characters, different skills, and how you use them. And the third is, which my favorite part, is that if you watch cricket or if you watch or any other sport, like when one team is leading and the other team has to catch up, that tension, that time, that. So the very first thing, for risk reward, I have a feature where the cops can drop in extra diamonds. It's a very small thing. It doesn't change much into the game, but it adds in that more dramatic flavor. Like it allows players to taunt each other more, and just adds in fun element. The second best thing for the change which I can imagine is right now in the game, if you are chasing your score, let's say you have to steal 2 diamonds in the last round. So the earlier you had 5 diamonds on the map and you just had to steal 2, so it was very easy. It sort of wasn't fun because you have this game where everything is going on exciting, and suddenly in the last round is very, very easy, and it's not fun. So what I just changed is your score actually matches to the diamonds on the map. So if in the last round you just have to steal 2 diamonds, rather than being easy, like now you just have 2 diamonds. So it all comes down to the end of the match, and every single time it's going to be exciting because if one team is going to win, they're going to steal every diamond. Right? It all comes down to like sort of this showdown or finale or something, which works. Okay, so go faster. Design, I did talk about this, skills, combos, extra. I'll just pop up the Unreal build in the end and show it quickly. Playtesting is one thing which I did not manage so far, first of all because of slight network problems, and as I said, the audience wasn't exactly what my game, even on the target audience. I'm not saying it's bad, but one really good thing was, I like strategy games, I like tactical games. And I'm so much into it. That's what I think about always, and even about the game. But after talking to everyone, after just general conversations, it was helpful just to stop and get myself out and take a broader look in the game. There's so much I can do with just a few skills which I have made. With the games can be so fun. Like Zhao's simple idea of I can just have someone running around. The diamonds can be fruits, and the guy who's running around becomes fatter and slow, and then you can push him and roll him. That is something which I can implement in a few days, but I just don't see it because I'm so lost into that strategy and element. So this is one thing which I'm really taking away for is that I've started to stop and look back. Yeah, like it. So finally, is the game done? No. Is it functional? Yes, it plays. Is it playable? Yes, it can be played. You have rounds. Is it the target experience? No. There's UI missing. There is HUD missing. There is art missing. But the workflow, yes. I mean, right now, if the way I'm working, when I'm adding in more characters, all I have to do is I take my concept, I take this template, I copy paste, I add in a few elements, just update the spreadsheet, the characters there, ask my friend to test, I can just push an update and he gets the update, and it's so much better when you can work fast and you can experiment. And this is actually very, very easy enough because it's all in blueprints, it's in charts. I can send this to someone who's interested to work on the game, and he doesn't have to code and he can input also. So yes, my Stugan aims were I have a solid base, design improvements, yes. Unfortunately, my speed of production is not equal to the speed of ideas. So, yeah.
It's been 12 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
12 minutes, sorry.
30 minutes.
So I have more characters. Oh, fresh. So right now I'm confident because I was just talking to Paul earlier, I had offers before, I didn't have any. But after talking to all the mentors and stuff, just it helps, open-minded, maybe. The boring work is done over here. I mean, I have my framework ready, it's done. I'm actually really, really happy.